Didn't intend to pull this much hair out. Heyo, welcome back. Today we are doing part 2 of my Disneyland series, and I'm talking all about tickets and passes and fast passes and max passes and things along those lines. If you did not see part 1, I will link it up there. That was last week. I'm doing this every Friday as I lead up to a Disneyland trip. Last week I talked about flights, hotels, transportation, shuttles, things in the area, like trip planning wise. This is gonna be more like actually on the park today. First things first, for tickets wise, you want to decide how many days you're gonna go. So I've done like both sides of the spectrum. I've done, I think a 3-day trip was my shortest trip and a 10-day trip was my longest trip, which I didn't need to do that, but I did. That looks better, right? I think ideally a like perfect amount of days for a Disneyland trip is probably right around like 4 days. If you want to do like absolutely everything, you can do 5. You can squeeze it into 2 or 3, but if you do 2 or 3, you absolutely have to get the 2 things that I'll talk about afterwards. So for me, I'm planning a 4-day. I think this gives you like a nice amount of time to get everything done without being rushed, but also not like dragging everything out and spending a ton of money in the parks. I like to have like 1 full day at least in each park, and then like at least 1 more day to like wiggle around and do the things either that you missed or that you want to do again, which is why I say you need at least 3. But I like having 4 because then you have more wiggle room to do stuff. I also find for me a big attraction and thing that I want to do in a like Disney vacation is food related, and obviously I can't eat like 18 snacks a day. So if I do a 4-day trip, it gives me more time to like plan meals and do things like that that aren't like rides and attractions and shows, but are like something that I personally look forward to. Related to that, this is one of the things that I differ on Disneyland and Disney World. I think you can do a Disney World vacation with not having a park hopper ticket. I think every park at this point, besides maybe Epcot, I'm so sorry, is a full day park. I think you could just happily do like a 4-day or an 8-day, however you want to do it, like 1 park per day, ticket to Disney World and get everything done. Disneyland, I always lean towards park hopper. It is a little bit more expensive, obviously. I think it's like $40 to $60 difference on a 4-day ticket, but because the parks are so close together, which I talked about in my last video, it's easy to pop back and forth. So I'll talk about this more when I talk about attractions and shows and food and things like that, but I don't really like most of the food in Disneyland, like snack wise. I'll always go to DCA to eat. So for me, having a park hopper is worth it because it means that like if I get like hungry around 6 o'clock and I've been in Disneyland all day, I can just pop over and grab a drink or grab like a good easy grab and go meal from DCA instead of just like getting food that's like filler food that I don't actually want to eat at Disneyland just for the sake of like not starving, you know? I also think for fast passes wise, it's really easy to pop back and forth. If you can maximize the system really well, you can get so much done in a day, and being able to go like back and forth in between the parks is super easy. It also means you're not stuck in that park. So say you want to do like, I guess the highest sought after ride is Radiator Springs Racers. If you plan to do it that day and you have a fast pass and you only have a 1-day ticket or a 1 park per day ticket, then you're stuck in DCA all day and you'll miss things like, you know, the fireworks that might be over at Disneyland. So having a park hopper, I feel like gives you more flexibility and it's actually worth it in Disneyland, where Disney World, I'm like, you don't really need it. And at Disney World, it's going to take you like a really long time to get in between parks unless you're at Epcot or Studios. So I think it's easier in Disneyland. It's more worth your money in Disneyland. I really need to pee now that I started this, so I'm gonna go pee and then I'll be right back. We're back. Yeah, so I think if you're doing anything 3 days or less, you absolutely need a park hopper to get everything done. It also just like, as it gives you a little bit more flexibility on your plans, I feel like you can squeeze more in, and if you have the app, which obviously I recommend, you can look at wait times, and if you're someone who's like not tied down to kids and stuff like that, it's easy for you to be like, oh, it's a short wait for this, I'm gonna pop over here to DCA for a minute. Oh, now it's shorter over here, like I'll pop over here, go ride Space Mountain. Things like that. It gives you more room to like squeeze things in, and because everything's so close, you're able to squeeze things in, where like you could look at my Disney experience and be like, oh, Flight of Passage wait is only 45 minutes right now, and then by the time you get to the park like 45 minutes later, it's back up to like 138. So you know what I mean? I like park hopper. Tips for tickets, I always say only buy directly from Disney. Obviously people use travel agents and things like that. The only problem with that is you don't necessarily know what you're buying unless you buy it directly from Disney. A girl that I worked with at Typhoon also owned a travel agency, and she would talk about the reason that people had the wrong tickets all the time for Typhoon, because if you don't know, at Disney World, if you want to do water parks, you can't use a Park Hopper, you need Park Hopper Plus, which is a more expensive ticket. She was saying that travel agents who sell Disney tickets and Disney vacations don't commission off of regular tickets, like one park per day tickets, and don't commission off of Park Hopper Plus, even though it's more expensive, or they get less commission in her experience. So people would always push Park Hopper tickets over other tickets because as an agent they could make more money. But the problem with that is if you need a Park Hopper Plus ticket and you end up with a Park Hopper ticket, then you're forced to spend more money to upgrade your ticket when you get there. So unless you're buying it directly from Disney, you don't really know exactly what you're getting, which is why I always recommend that. You can look for discounts. Sometimes there's something out there. If you're local to the area, there's always going to be local discounts. There's like Florida resident, SoCal resident, things like that. If you are a Canadian, like me, buy your tickets directly through the Disney website. They usually do this every year, releases around September, October, November, and it runs until the end of February, I believe, and then you need to use them up by the end of that year. But it's 20% off for Canadian residents, and you just need to show your passport when you turn your like electronic ticket into a real ticket. So that's what we're doing. You can save a ton of money doing that, but if possible, buy direct through Disney, just because you're guaranteed to get what you think you're buying. Last thing on tickets really quick is, if you're someone who travels a lot, look at annual passes. I used to be a pass holder, obviously, for years, and I justified this because I did like 3-ish trips a year. One year I was in the Disney, like land parks, DCA or Disneyland, 36 days. I spent over a month in Disneyland here, and I live in Canada. So take a look at how often you're gonna go. It might be worth it. What I'm dabbling in this trip is they released last year the Flex annual pass, where a bunch of days are like good to go, so they're like free green days for normal pass holders. Some days are blocked out over like the holidays and things like that, and there's also reservation days where 30 days advance you can make a reservation for that day, and then once they fill up with Flex pass holders, you can't get them anymore. So obviously it is riskier, and I think it's more common among locals because it's people who like aren't super upset because they aren't planning whole trips around it. But I do want to go back down in October for my birthday, and only 2 of the days that I want to go into the park are reservation days and none of them are blocked out. So I was thinking about doing that. The cost difference would be like between $200 and $300, almost $1,000, $200 and $300 US dollars, which is a lot of money. But to think about that my ticket is going to be $400, I'm saving over $100 getting the AP and doing 2 4-day trips than buying 2 4-day Park Hopper tickets with MaxPass with the Canadian resident discount. And I wouldn't buy my tickets for my October trip until after the Canadian resident discount expired, so I'd have to buy those full price. So that is how I would justify it. Obviously, don't just do this for the sake of doing it if you have no plan of going back. For me, I'm not going to upgrade it until I have verification from someone that they are down to do another trip, because obviously I'm not going to like throw money away with no guarantee of a trip. But the way that I see it, if I can upgrade to an annual pass because I know I have one more trip coming, then that way anything else that I do on top of that is just like fun. I also like having an AP because it gives you that kind of like buffer days of like being able to go and grab something. So I would do this with like my mom when I was in AP and I took my mom down. Like on her last day, she realized that she wanted to buy something and she forgot. I can just run into the park and grab it. Even if she doesn't have a valid park ticket, I can just zip in and out because I have an AP. You also get the AP perks even with the cheaper Flex Pass. So 10% off food and 10% off merchandise, which doesn't seem, actually it might be 20% off merchandise. No, I think it's 10. I don't know, I'll leave AP discounts and like information down below. But even 10% off food, if you think about you're on a 4-day trip, even if you only spend like $15 per meal, which is like super on the low side, that would be, God, I should have picked an easier number. 45, let's round it up to 50. You're spending $200 per person on food alone. On a 4-day, you had 2 people, that's $400. If you have an AP, you're already saving like 40 bucks there in between your party on top of merchandise. I can easily by myself spend $200 on merchandise. So I don't know, look at the pros and cons. Obviously an AP isn't good for everyone, but if you're already planning another trip and you think that that discount will even out, a lot of people in families, one person will get an AP and the rest of them won't, because that AP and discounts on like hotels and merchandise and food may balance out. I think that's it for ticketing. Now I'm going to move on to MaxPass. So this is where Disneyland and Disney World completely different sense of fast passes. Disney World, use My Disney Experience or the website. You can sign up for your fast passes 60 days in advance if you're at a resort, 30 days in advance if you are not, and that is it. You can keep getting them closer to the date, but you can do them online, 3 a day. Once you use up those 3, then you can get one additional one at a time. That's just how it works. There's no cost to it. It's included in your ticket price, but you have to do it in advance. Disneyland used to not have any sort of anything besides you just went and got fast passes when you got to the park, which I personally liked. I liked having the paper fast passes. I'm not a huge planner. I'll do my dining reservations, things like that, super far out, but a lot of times I just like want to decide what I do when I get there. So on park days, I don't necessarily want to be like, oh, I need to be here at 9 a.m. and then here at 9:38 and then here, like, not my vibe. I get that some people love that. I am not one of those people. So I like Disneyland's system. You just get your fast passes day of once you start entering the park, where MaxPass comes in, which I personally love. Every single like site that I've been on, Facebook group, thread that I've seen, everyone recommends MaxPass. I wholeheartedly do as well. MaxPass lets you make your fast passes from your phone compared to going to a fast pass like kiosk at that ride. At Disney World, because everything's on your phone, there's like fast pass kiosks for everything. Disneyland, you need to physically go to the ride and scan your ticket to get a fast pass. With MaxPass, you can do it all on your phone. So instead of running into DCA in the morning to like get your butt to Radiator Springs Racers to get there and get a fast pass, and then even if you're there at 9 a.m. your fast pass may not be till 4 p.m. you can just do it on your phone as long as you're in the parks. You do have to be in the parks to make them, but still super worth it. It's $15 a day, which can add up obviously, but I think you can get every ride done multiple times very, very easily with MaxPass. And I think there's a huge value in MaxPass because it includes PhotoPass. So when you think about things like Memory Maker at Disney World, I don't know, it's like, it ranges. People would always ask me PhotoPass prices when I was an attendant and I had no idea. I'd say it ranges between like $7 and $10, I think, for one digital download. And then like Memory Maker is something stupid, like a couple $100 for 30 days. With MaxPass, you can spend $15 a day, or if you have an annual pass, it's $100 for a year, which is insane when you think about how Memory Maker is like $200 for 30 days. And it includes all your PhotoPass, all your like photographer PhotoPass pictures, all your character PhotoPass pictures, all your ride photos, everything. And it's just little things like that that I think are so funny, because I love ride photos, but like I'm never gonna spend $7 to get a photo of me on Space Mountain, because when am I ever actually gonna use that photo? But if I have it for free, it's real freaking funny just to have it there. So that alone, I think MaxPass pays for itself with $15 a day just for PhotoPass alone, and then being able to make the fast passes is just like a little bonus on top of it for me. I love MaxPass. I recommend it, especially if you have like people in your party that have never been before and they don't understand waiting in line and they think that's stupid. If you have small children that don't want to be waiting in line but want to ride rides like Radiator Springs Racers, really good option. Like I said, if you're doing anything 3 days or less, I do think MaxPass is super necessary if you are a attractions-based person and you want to do things like that. Also, even if you want to see things like World of Color, easy way to get fast passes for better viewing for that as well. I really like it. I think it's worth it. I think it's not a very big cost in the scheme of things. When you think $15 a day, you're like, ooh, that can be a lot of money. That's 60 bucks. But like, hi, you're also spending $400 on a ticket. So like maybe 60 bucks isn't too expensive. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. I am out of breath and tired. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Like I said, my next video will be on attractions most likely, and then I might do a separate one on like shows and entertainment, but that also may be like a little baby episode because I don't have that much to say about it. Besides, I would absolutely die for the wandering characters in Disneyland. I wish Disney World guests weren't so terrible that we were allowed to have them there, but no, guests would just beat characters up if given the opportunity, I think, in Disney World. So, story about that coming soon in another video. I think my next one will be on attractions, and then I will definitely have one on food. I'm thinking I may even split food up into table service and snacks, and then I did a little poll on my community tab. If you don't know, I have a community tab. I put polls up on there all the time, and I asked if people wanted me to split up Disneyland and DCA for attractions and food, and y'all said that DCA deserved her own video because she is great, especially when it comes to food. I'm so sorry, Disneyland, but you are not adequate compared to DCA. So those videos are coming up, so please subscribe. If you have anything that you want to see or anything that you think are must-dos, you can leave them in the comments below so I can throw them in a video and talk about it. Yeah, on top of this series, I have lots of other videos coming, some Disney related. I still have lots of stories about good guests and bad guests because people keep asking for guest horror stories, and I straight up was like, I don't think guests were that bad this summer. And then I started to write it down and I had like 17 examples, so bad guest stories are coming soon, so please subscribe for that. All my links to everything else, as always, are down below. Way easier to find me on Twitter and Instagram than on here a lot of the time. And I will see you guys in a couple of days, because apparently now I'm trying to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday again, which like I don't know how long that'll keep happening, but like we'll see. But I'll see you guys in a couple days then. Bye.